Our next guest has a sell rating on AT&T. He slapped it on the stock last Wednesday and thinks the deal's demise was fully priced in. He remains concerned, though, that operating costs are at a crossroads for this company. Kevin Smithen is here from Macquarie Securities, here with me and Stephanie. So, Kevin, a sell rating on the stock going forward. You think it was fully priced in. What is it? What problem is it beyond the collapse of the T-Mobile deal that you have with AT&T?
Well, we think there's a couple of issues for the company right now. As Renee mentioned, Deutsche Telekom, T-Mobile's U.S. subsidiary, needs spectrum. AT&T has even more of an acute need for spectrum. As you know, as part of the breakup fee, they transferred spectrum, or they will be transferring spectrum to T-Mo. And we think for LTE, which is the next generation of wireless technology for AT&T, supporting tablets and smartphone growth, that AT&T is going to need at least 20 megahertz of additional spectrum over the next couple of years. The problem for both T-Mobile and for AT&T is there are limited options of that spectrum available in the market, particularly a 10 by 10 block for 20 megahertz or greater. There's really only a couple of them on the market. That's Dish Networks and Clearwire. Spectrum Co. sold, the cable companies are selling their spectrum to Verizon in a brilliant move by Verizon. They snatched that spectrum from under AT&T and T-Mo right before this deal fell apart. I don't think that was a master stroke. I don't think that was a coincidence in timing. And so the spectrum options are limited, and they're going to be costly.
Well, that leaves T-Mobile with the cash and spectrum. So do you think they could remain independent here?
Well, I think in the short term, they're going to remain independent. My sense is they did shop their tower assets. They've got about 8,000 wireless towers in the U.S. Our expectation is there will be multiple bidders on that auction that could be completed over the next 6 months. There will not be a regulatory issue with that. That could raise as much as $2 to $2.5 billion of additional proceeds for T-Mobile, which they can reinvest in LTE, for spectrum, or to pursue a network sharing agreement.
Kevin, is it possible that the government has a bigger plan here? Clearly, the American government, whether it's the Obama administration or Congress or whoever sits in the White House next year, wants a competitive wireless industry, wants Americans to have access to the highest speeds possible over their mobile phones and all the services that come with it. So maybe, is it possible that maybe they've got something else up their sleeves? They are going to auction more spectrum. They will make the Qualcomm spectrum available to the wireless industry. And AT&T is going to have some alternatives that may not be quite as expensive as what you envision?
Well, I think the difficulty for the regulators, particularly the FCC, is that there is a scarcity of spectrum in the U.S. And spectrum is the primary gating factor for the evolution and the further development of smartphones and tablets and all of these great consumer devices that we all love. And without getting more spectrum into all of the players, including Verizon and AT&T, by the way, the market is not going to continue to grow, and the pace of innovation from Apple and Google and Amazon and all these great companies that are driving technology, that's going to have to slow down because there's not going to be capacity on the networks to support these great devices and all the wonderful applications that we're seeing in the market. So I think that's one issue that the FCC has. On the other side of the coin, they see two competitors that are controlling roughly 80% of the net adds or more of the market and most of the incremental growth. And the two competitors, AT&T and Verizon, are getting stronger at the expense of Sprint, T-Mo, Metro PCS, and Leap. And the regulators would love to see those other players get stronger, either through giving them more spectrum, which is what Sprint, T-Mo, Metro PCS, and Leap need. They also need liquidity. And they'd like to see those competitors getting stronger. So could we see increased partnerships? I would add Clearwire into that as well. Can we see increased partnerships where they share network costs, where they can try to scale up their businesses without actually merging? I think that's the wave of the future, and I think that will get the FCC's blessing.
Kevin, thank you for being here with us. Pretty big and important morning for AT&T, Verizon, and the rest of the wireless industry. Kevin Smithen of Macquarie had a sell rating on AT&T stock.